You are not going to believe the mistake that this new YouTuber made. I tell you what, it's not to believe there are people like that out in this world. But before we get into that, you're walking the beach with Popsie Guy, hanging out with Popsie Guy, and I'm glad you're here because I can't believe this happened to this new YouTuber. Ah, it's tragic. And you probably already guessed who that new YouTuber is. It's me. It's me. The one that probably shouldn't be holding a camera and posting on YouTube is Popsie Guy. Let me tell you what happened. So I was setting up to do a video one day last week. I wanted to do something different, so I drove downtown and actually went to the pier in Pensacola. And as I'm apt to do, I get myself set up in the car and I do a sound check. Testing 1, 2, 3, testing. You know, that type of thing to make sure everything's working. So I parked the car, or as we say in Boston, I parked the car, and I'm walking down the sidewalk looking for a good spot along the pier to do the video. So I've got my mic on, ready to go. And then these folks are coming up the street and they want to talk. So I chatted with them for about 5 or 10 minutes and went on my way to find the spot. And found the spot right in front of a couple of beautiful yachts. And man, I killed it. It was an awesome video. You know, sometimes you just do something and you're like, man, I'm glad I did that. So every time I do a video, and I'll do it after I do this one, is I'll watch it back. I'll replay it to see how it looks. And so I'm all excited about this one, right? Well, it turns out that in the time that I was chatting with those people along the street, my microphone, this microphone, it does an automatic shut off after a couple of minutes, and I didn't realize that. So I had my microphone on, I had my receiver in, and I gave the best presentation you'll ever see, with no sound. That was like 20, 25 minutes, man. Oh, anyway. So I'm all mad at myself, and if you could have been there, you would have heard me, you know, using choice words. How could you be so stupid? What are you, an idiot? Why would you do something like that? All the great positive self-talk that YouTubers do. So I said, you know what? I can overcome this. I'm not going to quit. I'm just going to do it again. But I had completely forgotten, this is the best part, I had completely forgotten that I had taken the receiver out of my camera, left my microphone on, hit record, made sure the microphone was running, and did another video. Did you catch that? I took the receiver out of the camera and I'm talking into a microphone that is not connected to the phone. But Apple has its own microphone. And so I was able to actually upload that video. It had sound, probably not as good as it would have been using a microphone, but still good enough. And I wasn't going to do a third take, trust me. The second one wasn't half as good as the first one in my mind. But here we are. So it got me thinking, if you're a new YouTuber, don't make that same stupid mistake the Popsie Guy made. Check and double check and triple check before you hit the record button that not only is your mic working, that your background looks good, all the things that you just like probably thinking about but really not double checking. So the whole mistake thing got me thinking one other thought, which is I've made a ton of mistakes in my life. And if you're my age, you probably made as many, if not more. It makes me sound good, but I'm not. One of the mistakes I make is a boomer, early boomer, or late boomer. I never know what to say. Is it early boomer, late boomer, born in 62? Regardless, is I think that people should think the way I think. Or I'm amazed when I find out people don't think the way I think. Does that ever happen to you? So that's one mistake that I need to really pay attention to. Not everybody is as weird as I am and thinks the way I think. However, I just got off the phone with a friend of mine, an old high school buddy, back up in Boston. And he reminded me of something us old people, 60 plus people, we just think that the next generation, millennials not so much, but the Gen Zers, they don't want to work. That's a mistake because there are some that really do. But the stereotype is that they don't want to work. And I was really hesitant on even bringing this up because, as I said, it's not true across the board. But man, when you hear stories about some of these folks just decide, I ain't working today. So getting back to my buddy up in Massachusetts, you know, they just got some snow. I think they got like 6 or 8 inches where he's at. And he runs a gym, a 24-hour fitness type of deal. And I guess I don't understand who you're supposed to open, but there were 2 21-year-old employees that were scheduled to open 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning. And they called the manager and said, my mother, I guess they're sisters. I wasn't really sure about the detail. All I heard was, my mother doesn't want me to drive in the snow, so I can't get to work. And he and I are like, are you kidding me? How are you going to learn how to live if you don't learn how to drive in the snow in Massachusetts? And you can't just not show up to work because your mommy says that you can't drive in the snow. To me, and probably to you, that's inexcusable. Don't forget, you and I walked to school barefoot in the snow for 5 miles. Both ways were uphill. You remember that? Now that's exactly what we think. But again, it's a mistake to paint the whole generation with the brush of just a couple of examples. But unfortunately, those examples are out there. More and more do I, because I'm still working. Told you I'm delivering pizza. Oh yeah, yesterday, Super Bowl, we had every driver in the company ready to work, thinking it's going to be like chaos and busy. Well, it turns out I made 20 bucks for a 4-hour shift. So that was my worst ever day, which is fine. I kind of knew that was going to happen. But the funny thing is, again, my mistake for thinking that people think like I do. Well, so if you want to bring in every driver, that means most of the orders are going to be deliveries, right? Wouldn't you think that? No, it turns out that the company, unbeknownst to the guy that runs the place, the company put a promotion for carryout. And we were just laughing at each other, looking at all the tickets that had carryouts. You got 8 drivers standing around waiting to deliver fresh hot pizza. Nope, everybody's coming in. They're lined up 4 deep for their carryout specials. So another one, where I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. As I said, you're going to put the money into having the drivers on hand. Make sure they're busy. I don't know why I'm telling you all this. You're probably bored out of your mind, but I just needed an excuse to come to the beach and walk in the water. As you can see, not very crowded. And it really is pretty, isn't it? And this is Johnson Beach, the Perdido Key, which is just south and west of downtown Pensacola. If you have not made your way down to this neck of the woods, I suggest that you do it. If you, especially this area, if you're not a big fan of crowds, this is the place to be. So, as I said, I just needed an excuse to come walk barefoot on the beach in February. And I wanted to bring you along, tell you what was going on, and remind you, if you are a new YouTuber and you plan to make a video, be sure the microphone is set up. Don't be a Popsie Guy who is a knucklehead but loves hanging out with you. So until the next time, thanks for hanging out with Popsie Guy, and we'll see you soon.